Hello and welcome to the first episode of CEEC podcast. Today, we are going to talk about forensic engineering. I'm Esther Chen, your host for the episode today. Before we begin, I have some questions for you. Yes, you, the one who is listening to our podcast right now. Have you ever heard about forensic engineering? What is forensic engineering? And what do forensic engineers do? Well, no worries if you are not clear with the answers. Please sit back and let our speaker here clear your doubts. Our speaker today is Engineer Technologist Dr. Huzaifa bin Hashim. He is a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Engineering, University Malaya. He has made his path unceasingly in the civil engineering field, gaining knowledge over the years both on academic and industrial lines. He also served as a consulting engineer for many civil engineering-related projects under the Universiti Malaya Consulting Unit, UPUM Sendirian Berhad.
A very warm welcome to our honorable speaker here, Engineer Technologist Dr. Huzaifa bin Hashim.
Thank you, Esther, for the wonderful introduction. I'm very honored to join you in the studio today to talk more about forensics engineering.
Hi, Dr. Huzaifa. Nice to meet you too. So let us start with the first question. Can you simply tell us what forensic engineering is?
Okay, if you look into the proper definition of forensic engineering under the National Academy of Forensic Engineering, its definition is the application of art and science of engineering in matters which are in or may possibly relate to the jurisprudence system, inclusive of alternative dispute resolution. Now, if you want to break down into simple words, it's just solving a problem. And since we are under the scope of civil and buildings, civil structures, so you're likely to have civil and any related engineering under the building unit for the main aspect of this.
Understand. So forensic engineer is problem solver in civil engineering. Am I right?
That's right, Esther.
All right. So Dr. Huzaifa, I'm in my early stage of study and I would like to know more about this path. Can you tell me about it?
Okay, so before we move to the path, and since you're in your early stage of the study, can I know when you first heard about forensic?
I guess maybe beginning of this sem.
Okay, I see. So that's something which that everyone needs to know about at this very moment, actually. So when you ask a child, what do you want to become at the very beginning, he will say like engineer, and you ask again, what do you want to do as an engineer? Make buildings. So you can see a process of building from scratch to a building. Something means a fast forward product. But another aspect that we always miss is that who's going to take care of the building later on. So that's where this forensic engineering comes into play, whereby if any problem arise in the building, for example, there's failure and so on, so the engineer needs to take care of it as well. So another portion of engineer is the forensic engineering, which actually look at the after service of the building and enhance more understanding about how it fails and so on. So since you're very interested, the path that I can share with you, according to my experience, is perhaps to have your main focus in accomplishing your degree in civil engineering field. So you get your degree first. After that, you need to register with the Board of Engineer Malaysia as a graduate member. And then you start jumping into projects straight away. So that's how I did my way in having a path in the forensic engineering. Besides that, you also need to be aware that when it comes to forensic engineering, it accommodates a lot of parts. It's not just structure itself. but it connects to a lot of fields. For example, the geotechnical, soil studies, and then structure, and then the environment as well, and the water resources. So all of this, you need to be well equipped, and you need to have proper knowledge on that, because it's not a standalone aspect. It's actually linked, and then that's the only thing that we can define or give a definition on the solution with all these integrated parts in the civil system.
Okay. So means that forensic engineering is how to say, we need to know every single thing in civil engineering to be a good forensic engineer.
That's right, Esther. If I want to add more, okay, of course you have your interest after you finish your study. Okay, for example, you are prone into, for example, bridge engineering. You like bridge. Maybe after that you want to work into bridge. But if you really want to go into the forensic engineering, you need to know what connects to the bridge. For example, the soil connects to the bridge. The hydraulics part, of course, it's much related to the bridge, the environment as well. So at the very beginning, it's a normal process of getting the very, you can say, shallow knowledge. And some, if you go to advanced or later years, you're going to have like advanced knowledge on this. But the thing that going to build your interest or accomplishing all these parts is when you join a project. That's where you learn that actually the building it doesn't stand alone. It connects to a lot of aspects from the soil itself, environment, like I said earlier. So at the beginning, it's good. Try to do the best in your study. Have all the formulation work out properly, and then after that, it'll be a smooth process for you to actually link all together. That's how the forensic engineering aspect works.
I see. Can you tell me more about the future of forensic engineering?
Okay, this is something very interesting because it evolves with the technology. Previously, if we want to make a comparative study, forensic engineering takes such a long time to extract data or provide evidence because of limitation in the tools that we have. Okay, imagine last time if it was a project to take, for example, the site condition. So we have to go to the site, and then we have to be in different perspective view to actually get a picture of the site. Okay, for example, if there's a slope failure there, we need to move from one place to another to get a good picture of what is actually the surrounding looks like. But now with the enhanced technology, we can just use a simple tool such as a drone. Just one person to maneuver, and then you can get like the whole perspective or bird's eye view or different angle about the case study that you're having. So actually, as the years pass by, you can see a lot of development in this technology, especially in equipments to actually help us in getting the information or evidence very quickly and efficiently. So there's a lot of tools that can help us to move further into the future. So I can see a really bright future when it comes to the forensic engineering with the introduction of new technologies that actually help us in providing all the information and evidence.
Wow, I never think of drone is actually a helper of forensic engineers. All right. Can you share more about your challenging moments in any projects that you have joined before?
I'll be happy to. So perhaps I can start with one of the project that was assigned. It was to assess a building, a factory building, a food factory, somewhere in Rawang. Okay, and the challenging moments is that from that experience, I got to know that knowledge is really priceless. Yeah, because after a few projects that I attained, if you put knowledge in the first one or experience, it gives you like it opens up to a new door towards understanding different aspects of the forensic engineering. Okay, so this factory appointed us to run an assessment just to check whether the building is in good condition, because they need to close down the factory, so they need to hand over to the owner. So they need us to assess whether there's any damage due to the operation during the food manufacturing. So we spend about 1 week to provide the evidence, very short timing. And one of the challenges is because in Rawang, and I have to travel there just to start off my day early at 8 o'clock and finish at 4:30, a complete procedures. We went to every section, corner of the building to actually check it because, as I mentioned earlier, we need to be really detailed in providing this information. So we checked all the elements related to the building, for example, the beam, the column, whether they are still intact. So that was the most challenging part because when it comes to building, you need to go very detailed. Every corner of the building, you need to be report. So a single crack, you need to report as well. So imagine it's just a small factory, and after some times, my boss bring in a more bigger project, which is 11-story building.
Wow.
So we have to go one by one, each of the floor to check all the defects and so on, assessment. And then as time passes by, it slowly develops some confidence in you, how to progress more efficiently, how to look at things differently to provide the evidence. And then perhaps the last one that I had, maybe the recent one, was somewhere in Penang, where we need to check the facade of the building, whether it's still okay or not. So at that moment, I was able to use the what do you call that? The machine to lift me up. But it was my first time using that, so I have no experience at all. So in forensic engineering, it's just like a jump to a new knowledge or experience. So it's something I can say that it's a big challenge for anyone who actually venture into this forensic team, because we don't know what's the output, we don't know the procedure. Is very subjective. Once you're there, then only you're gonna be progressing slowly, but you got to work within a specific time. So that's few of the challenges I can share with you.
Wow, that's so interesting. And then, hopefully it helps me and boosts my confidence in being a future forensic engineer. All right. So last question from me. Can I get some advice from you to our future students to venture in this field?
Okay. So the advice based on my experience to have like a smooth process of going into this field is that, of course, you need to be excellent in your studies. Apart from that, whatever assignment or task being given by your lecturer, please look it in a very different manner, not just to get the passing or A mark, to actually understand the process behind it, and also very detailed about what's actually you have to do, understand. So from there, you'll be able to connect one thing to another. All right. In undergraduate, I can say it's like a puzzle piece. Okay. You're having like different aspects at the same time. For example, for today, one class on geotechnical, the second day structural. So it's all not connected. Okay. So at the moment, there's no connection between one, unless if you go to integrated design, you can see a very significant link between one another. Okay. But have understanding each one of the element first. Once you go into your career as an engineer, you have another process of linking all of this together, because when you come to a project, it actually does not evolve around one aspect, but actually connected to a lot of aspects. So the advice here is actually to have an open mind towards understanding different aspects of civil engineering, not just structure, water, or geotech, but other as well, environmental. And sometimes if you can understand about the electrical engineering or mechanical engineering, it's really contributing as well, because when we're outside there, when it comes to a building disaster or something, collapse, the loading is basically coming from movement from the mechanical parts. So that's something that we can look into as well. The loading basically contribute by the mechanical parts as well. Okay, sometimes it wasn't designed for such vibration of the mechanical parts, but when it's overload, you can see like a lot of defect in the building. This goes reflect back to one of the project in the food factory. They have a lot of mechanical instrumentation there. So as it progressed day by day, it actually sparked a lot of crack inside the building that actually induced to a larger crack in after 3-4 years. So that's something that I can advise you for the one who is very interested to go into the field. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Huzaifa. I guess this is the last question from in our podcast today. So thank you very much again, Dr. Huzaifa. Thank you for giving so much experience and then telling so much things to me, which I'm really interested in being a forensic engineer. Thank you for today.
Thank you, Esther.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and share it to your friends. If you have any thoughts after listening to this episode, feel free to leave your comments in the comment section below. With that, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!